You know, we've been swimming in the deep end of the generative AI pool for a while now. The initial splash was huge, promising to, well, revolutionize everything. But if you're like me, you're probably starting to wonder what's actually sticking? What's really making a difference beyond the headlines?
Exactly. And that's what we're digging into today. Let's kind of forget the generalized hype for just a moment. Our sources, there's some insightful excerpts from a recent Fast Company article, and they point to something incredibly concrete, something really impactful that's emerging as generative AI's real breakthrough, coding.
Coding, that's right. You heard that correctly. Move over, fancy marketing copy, maybe. It turns out generative AI is making some serious waves in the world of software development.
Hmm.
So our mission today, yours and ours, is to understand why this is happening, what the evidence actually shows, and, what it all means for the tech landscape and probably beyond.
Yeah. We know you're hearing a lot about AI everywhere, so we really want to laser focus on this one. Pretty significant development. Cut through some of that noise.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The article hits you with a pretty surprising statistic right off the bat. Some estimates suggest that writing code now accounts for, get this, half of all large language model usage.
Half. It's a staggering figure, really. And
Yeah.
it highlights a significant pivot, I think, in how these powerful AI models are actually being used day to day.
Right, because initially the buzz was all about AI transforming, well, all sorts of business tasks, drafting legal documents, handling customer service calls, creating marketing content, that kind of stuff.
We've definitely heard a lot about that potential, yeah.
Yeah.
But as the Fast Company piece points out, software development has maybe unexpectedly surged right to the forefront.
Huh.
They highlight tools like Cursor and Windsurf.
Hmm.
And these tools are now capable of tackling entire software projects with,
Hmm.
and this is crucial, minimal human intervention.
Hmm.
Really
Well,
minimal.
minimal intervention on whole project.
Yeah. And what's fascinating here isn't just the capability, but the sheer speed at which developers are adopting these things.
Yeah.
The article cites a 2024 GitHub survey. It found that over 97% of developers, 97%, have used AI coding tools in their work.
97, that's basically everyone.
Pretty much. And it's not just individuals tinkering. About 30 to 40% of organizations are actively encouraging their teams to integrate these AI tools into their workflows.
Those numbers really jump out. So this isn't some niche experiment anymore, is it?
Not at all.
And this widespread individual adoption, it's clearly being reflected up at the organizational level. We see it with the big players. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella is quoted saying AI is now responsible for writing up to 30% of Microsoft's code.
30% at Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's just a massive shift in their whole engineering process.
It is. And Google's CEO, Sundar Pichai, he echoed that. Noted that over 30% of new code being created at Google is now AI generated.
Right. So when you have the leaders of the tech world, reporting figures like that, it signals a really fundamental change in how software is actually being built.
Absolutely. And the money follows, right?
Yep.
The massive financial investments really underscore the industry's belief in this trend.
Oh, yeah.
The article mentions AnySphere's Cursor raising, a whopping $900 million at a $9 billion valuation.
$9 billion. And that's a huge leap, wasn't it? From like $2.5 billion earlier in the year.
Exactly. Huge leap. Plus OpenAI snapping up Windsurf, which used to be Codam, for $3 billion.
$3 billion. These are serious, serious bets on the future of AI coding.
No kidding.
Precisely. And this level of financial backing, it indicates a really strong conviction in the transformative potential of AI, specifically in this domain. But, beyond the money, the actual performance improvements we're seeing, they're truly remarkable.
Okay, yeah, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The piece shares this anecdote about OpenAI's top model. Just 5 months before the article was written, it ranked around 1 millionth in a competitive coding benchmark.
1 millionth. Which, sounds bad, but it's still maybe a high percentile overall, given how many participate, but still.
And then, in just 5 months, that same top model made this extraordinary leap. It became the 175th best competitive coder in the world on that same test.
From a millionth to 175th. In 5 months. Think about these benchmarks, like, standardized coding challenges. The lower the rank number, the better the AI did. So that jump, it's just an extraordinary leap in capability.
It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it? That kind of rapid progress is just,
Way.
wow. And it raises huge questions about the future. And it leads to this pretty definitive prediction from OpenAI's chief product officer, Kevin Weil. He suggests AI could soon just surpass humans in coding ability altogether. He even says, and I quote, "Forever after that point, computers will be better than humans at writing code."
That is a bold statement, a
Yeah,
very bold
and
statement.
it really is.
And the article, thankfully, delves into the underlying tech advancements that are fueling this, why this is happening so fast.
Mm.
Two key factors are highlighted. These AI coding tools are gaining stronger reasoning abilities, and crucially, they can process much more information at once.
The context windows.
Exactly, thanks to larger context windows.
Okay, let's maybe dig into that idea of context windows a bit more, because it comes up a lot. As I understand it, these models, they're trained on just vast amounts of data, right? It gives them broad knowledge.
It's billions, trillions of data points.
But when they're actually generating code for my specific project, say, they need access to the relevant details, like instructions on what I want built, maybe existing code.
Correct. That project-specific info.
And that stuff is held in their short-term memory, which is the context window.
Precisely. That's the active working memory, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, even the most advanced tools can effectively consider fewer than 100,000 tokens at a time.
Tokens. Like words or parts of words, roughly.
Yeah, basically the building blocks of text for the AI. So 100,000 tokens is significant, but it still limits you when you're tackling really large, complex software projects. You just can't fit it all in memory at once.
But that's changing fast, too, isn't it?
Very fast. The article quotes a Google DeepMind research scientist, Nikolai Savinov. He predicts near-future context windows of making 10 million tokens.
10 million.
And eventually even 100 million tokens.
Wow. That's just orders of magnitude bigger than now. What does that actually mean, though?
Well, think about it. With context windows that big, an AI tool could effectively absorb huge amounts of human instruction, detailed specs, design documents, and maybe even more importantly, it could analyze an entire company's existing code base. All of it. At once.
Okay, I see. So it would have this unprecedented understanding of the project's history, the coding style, potential conflicts, everything.
Exactly. And Savinov's quote really paints a picture of this future. He says, "I imagine that we will very soon get to superhuman coding AI systems that will be totally unrivaled, the new tool for every coder in the world."
Superhuman coding AI, totally unrivaled. That suggests the truly transformative impact, doesn't it?
It certainly does. So, okay. While AI is making these incredible strides in software development, the article also takes a step back. It looks at how generative AI is playing out in other business areas. It draws on research from Accenture about the reinvention of business with AI.
Mm-hmm.
And the picture there, it's a little more nuanced, maybe less clear-cut.
Yeah, it seems like that initial excitement, AI immediately transforming every business function,
Mm-hmm.
it ran into some, well, real-world obstacles pretty quickly.
Uh-huh.
The article points to stuff like messy data that just wasn't ready for AI analysis, missing underlying tech infrastructure, outdated IT systems, and just a lack of people who knew how to implement and manage these AI solutions properly.
Well, it sounds familiar, right? Classic implementation hurdles.
Totally. So a lot of those early AI projects just fizzled out. They didn't make it out of the pilot phase, or they just didn't deliver the results people expected.
Exactly. The article even cites an AI company founder who estimates, maybe, a success rate of less than 10% for those first-wave AI projects.
Less than 10%. Ouch. That really highlights the challenge, doesn't it? Translating the theoretical potential into actual business value.
It does. But Accenture's research does highlight what separates the more successful AI adopters. The frontrunners, as they call them.
Okay, so what makes them different?
Well, it seems to boil down to a few key things. First, having a bold vision for scaling AI across the whole organization, not just isolated projects.
Right, thinking big.
Thinking big. Second, securing strong commitment. And crucially, investment from the top executives. C-suite buy-in.
Always important.
Third, actively investing in reskilling their workforce, teaching people how to work with the AI.
Makes sense.
And finally, making significant investments in the necessary AI and cloud infrastructure. You need the right plumbing.
Gotcha. So vision, money, people, and tech.
Pretty much. But it's important to note, these frontrunners, they're still in the minority. Accenture's survey looked at nearly 2,000 large companies. Only about 34% have made long-term investments in generative AI for core business functions.
Only about a third. So where is everyone else?
Well, the breakdown is quite telling, actually. Accenture found about 15% are really ready to reinvent with AI, Those are the front runners. Then you got 43% who are progressing, kind of moving along, and another 43% are still in the merely experimenting phase, just dipping their toes in.
43% just experimenting. That's a lot. It almost presents this interesting question, doesn't it? The article touches on this. Like, might companies have been better off just waiting for the AI tech to mature more before diving in?
Yeah, versus the potential benefits of that learning by doing approach, even if those first tries weren't home runs.
Right. Avoid the early mistakes and costs versus getting ahead of the curve.
It's a crucial point to consider. There are definitely valid arguments both ways, I think. Waiting might seem safer,
Yeah.
avoid pitfalls, wasted resources. But early experimentation, even with some failures, it can provide invaluable insights. It helps build the internal muscles you need to actually leverage AI effectively
Hmm.
as it keeps getting better.
Tricky balance. Okay, now shifting gears a bit. The Fast Company piece also highlights another really interesting and maybe more immediately relevant application of AI for many of us listening, protecting against online and phone scams.
Yes, and this is such a significant issue right now. It feels like it's exploding. The article points to the rapid increase in AI-powered scams just in 2024. And that trend, unfortunately, it shows no signs of slowing down.
Scary stuff.
It is. So in response, companies like Google are starting to deploy their latest AI models to help combat these evolving threats.
Okay, how did that work?
Well, one example they give is Gemini Nano, which they describe as a smaller, more efficient AI model. The key thing is it can run directly on your smartphone or computer, on device.
Ah, so not sending data to the cloud constantly.
Exactly, privacy benefits there. And apparently, when a Chrome user enables the enhanced protection mode in safe browsing, Gemini Nano works locally in the background, analyzing website content in real time. It's looking for telltale signs of fraud.
Like what kind of signs?
Well, common scam tactics. Things used in, say, fake tech support schemes, Google Notes, those are becoming way more prevalent.
Uh-huh. The old, your computer has a virus trick.
Right. But what's particularly interesting, maybe even more impressive, because it's analyzing in real time, the model can also potentially detect new scam techniques, stuff it hasn't specifically been trained on before. That adaptability is crucial for staying ahead of the criminals, who are always changing tactics.
That is clever, detecting novel threats.
Yeah. And it sounds like Google has even bigger plans for this kind of on-device AI protection. They aim to expand it to mobile Android devices and cover a wider range of scams, like those dodgy text messages or scam phone calls we all get.
That would be genuinely useful.
For sure. This really underscores a fascinating duality of AI, doesn't it? While it's driving these incredible advancements in creative fields like coding, it's also being strategically deployed as like a defensive tool to
Right.
safeguard us from the potential harms that AI itself can be used to create.
Yeah, the double-edged sword. So, as we wrap up our deep dive today, what are the key takeaways for you, the listener? It really seems like AI coding has emerged, maybe surprisingly fast, as a truly dominant application of generative AI, fueled by these just remarkable leaps in performance and really widespread adoption across the industry.
Absolutely. The speed and scale of AI's impact on software development have been quite something. Meanwhile, the broader integration of AI into, general business functions, that's still navigating its initial, often complex, sometimes messy stages.
Right. More of a
Yeah.
slow burn there, maybe.
It seems like it. And then on a separate but equally important front, we're seeing AI being strategically applied to critical protective functions, like spotting and stopping online scams.
It's a pretty stark contrast, isn't it? This almost unstoppable momentum of AI in code generation, alongside the much more measured, intricate integration into other business sectors, and then its deployment as a shield against its own potential downsides.
It really is. And it leaves us with a significant question for you to ponder, I think. Given these rapid advancements, specifically in AI coding,
Uh.
what do you think the future role of human software engineers will actually be? And maybe even bigger picture, how might this fundamental shift in how software gets built?
Yeah.
How might that ultimately reshape the broader economy and maybe even the pace of innovation itself?
Definitely something worth reflecting on as this tech just keeps evolving so incredibly fast.
Yeah.